sheets, and we're going to be doing the live lineup build for the LEC slate. Yesterday we did one for LCK, and it worked out. It worked out rather nicely. Ended up taking it down. Again, you can't be too ambitious with how much you make playing LOL DFS, but you chop with a few people. It's not the end of the world. So that was really, really good. So we're going to do the same thing with LEC, and we do have a little more time. The other thing I want to do is I want to just keep track of the Gulfstream stuff, because I just also put up a horse race thing. Let's see. No, it looks as though the one's going to hold on here. All right, 8-1. 8-1, good start for the pick five. Very, very strong. Very nice. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I don't know why. Did I do double of these? Yeah, I guess so. We have a couple of savers here. I don't know why we have this so many times. Maybe my partner did this on the side without me knowing it. Okay. All right. So let's get into the LEC. I really enjoy the LEC just because there's a lot of different variations. You have five match slates. Now again, it's only best of. I hate when they say it's best of one. It's a kind of a weird convention what they use, but it's one game. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to upload our projections here. Just make sure that they took, and they did. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just build lineups according to regular Saber score, and then we are going to have some fun messing around with the sims. Now, on this particular slate, what I do like this is that the max entries in the lottery is only 14 for a player, which means that you don't have to get that crazy to be unique. Okay, like you don't really have to play 4 twos. You just have to be enough, not, I was about to say be enough different, and that's pretty brutal. But you just have to I think, I don't know, just use the sim settings and just get a little bit different as far as ownership goes. Is it up here? Let me just make sure this is. It is. Now, as you'll see, when you go through these games, almost everything's so close. Like FNC Fnatic is minus 250, and then G2 is minus 250, KC is minus 260. Like in one game, there's a lot of variance. So it's and that's why some people actually like best of 3, best of 5 is the better team usually prevails. But in single game, it's better for DFS, right? Because the more variance, I think, the better. Okay. So let's have some fun. Before we even build it, let's see what we think it should look like, just for fun. And when I rate all these guys by Sheet's value score, you see like probably the bigger favorites, FNC, G2, KC. Oh, a good projection on Supa from MCOY here. So maybe as a small underdog, maybe he's not even that small of an underdog. Maybe he's a favorite too. It's a pick'em, so you'll probably get to some of that. So I'm expecting to see when we just run this, FNC and G2, they're the biggest favorites, and KC. So when we just run it by Saber score, that's pretty much what I'm going to expect to see. Let's do a full 5,000 lineups. I think there are enough combinations where it's worth considering all of them. The only risk we run doing this is it might take a little while. So let me just reach out to my partner with something else. So it's moving. So again, in League of Legends, for whatever reason, it does take a little bit longer to build these, but this isn't that bad, right? And again, in a 5-match slate, I just don't think it's worth playing anything but 4-3s. And in a 5-match slate where you can only play 15 or 14 entries per player, then I think it's really silly, to play 4-2s, or obviously anything aside from that, because there's just not going to be that many lineups. I mean, to compete against. So you may as well pick from the ones that are that much more likely to win. Now, fortunately, Saber Sim, through its contest sims and whatever, does a pretty decent job of filtering all that out for you. Now you saw, by the way, I put the Gulfstream stuff up. I did put a video up where I went over the best plays here throughout the course of the day. And I do encourage, I don't encourage you to do this, okay? But I encourage you that if you were going to play anyway, to take advantage of my many years of insight into that field. And maybe even if you weren't going to play, maybe you degen a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. As I mentioned, we did poorly in LPL, and we did very well in LCK. Let's see if we can get it going here. So before we even run the Sims, let's see what we'd be getting without running the Sims. Let's just see what the best lineups would be. And those would be, first of all 4-3s, and it looks like it would be a pretty decent blend, actually. Check this out. So 50% G2, 40% Rogue. Okay. As a plus 211 underdog. That's very interesting. Huh. And then BDS minus 200, that makes sense. GX as a pick'em. So this is interesting. I guess the rogues are pretty cheap. That will let us get to them. So I'm going to be very curious if we actually see that. And this is going to be the first game right out of the gate. So that's always good news. The quick and painless variation. But let's run the Sims. And again, we're just running against ownership. It's not that, like when you look at contests here, let me just see. I mean, it's not good enough to create a field yet. So it's just going to be basing on ownership, which is usually, I don't say good enough, but it's good. I don't know if it's good enough, but it's certainly good. And when we run the Sims, let's see how that affects it. Let me just see. It looks as though it's the same. That shouldn't be. So let's do this one more time. Why would it be? Oh, so it was already set on the Sims? No. So here, when you apply the Sims, you actually get more of the favorite of FNC. And that's not usually something you see. Now, you do see a decent amount of the Rogue. So what we're saying here is that you're going to really hope that this first match goes off. And then 33% MCOY, and then 33% VIT as an underdog. Okay, so these are actually pretty good. And with stack exposures, it is giving me 1-4-2. We're just going to get rid of that bad boy. Okay. Now the other thing you could do, I mean, if you wanted to, is make more than one min unique. And when you do that, it's the same as any other sport. You have these kind of metrics here where you have a min destination ROI, median destination ROI of your whole portfolio. And if you want to do more min uniques, you just have to see how that affects these numbers. So let's take a look at median destination ROI. If we make it to 2, looks like it doesn't affect it at all, which is very strange. Let's see. Median destination 3 affected it, but median destination 2 did not. So let's stick with that one maybe. Let's see how that affected everything, by the way. No, you know what? I think these are min unique 2 anyway. That's like so funny. It's like the same build if you go min uniques 2 versus min uniques 3. Now, if you go min uniques 3, I just want to just see for fun what this does. It does scrunch up the exposure a little bit, but it increases the overall exposure of this FNC Rogue game. So let's just go back to Min Uniques 2 and get a little less of the rogue. I mean, it's still pretty much all, but whatever. So this will be cool. So what you'll do here is you'll have a full like anti-sweat of this last game. I'm getting like literally 0 of the SCKC. And then if in fact this game busts, you can still get there if this Vitality G2 thing goes off. Now again, that shouldn't affect how you play, but it's kind of fun to see, how your sweat kind of lays out. The other thing I like to do is just double check to make sure that I'm not getting anything really stupid in the captain, like a team position or anything. I'm getting all ADCs in the captain. So that's going to look pretty good with respect to the lottery. It's like 14. It's like 14, whatchamacallits. It's 14 lineups, not a big deal. And then when we go to the Triumphant Warrior, I want to go back to the regular Saber score. What are we going to call this? A small slate? 1K to 10K? Yeah, let's do that. And then when we rate it this way, it's actually going to be GX and FNC. And I really think that I can almost get away with just going with the main top lineup. Like, I'm not worried too much about getting unique here on a 5-game slate. I'm not even using the stock SaberSim projections. I'm using my own. So I'm not worried about that. So I'm probably just going to go with this and just ride. So let's put that one in. Save the contest. And we'll just kind of put that in like that. And again, that's just what I'm getting. Like if you wanted to, so let's just show you what the process looks like. Again, like what projections you put in are really going to impact what you end up getting, obviously. Oh, here's the one thing I do want to double check as well. I always like to do this. Let's go back and let's look at our whole pool. This is our whole pool here. And what I want to do is I want to see how many lineups in this pool are even considered like dupe candidates. So we're going into the main spreadsheet here, which has all the data. I'm going to take a look at this column, which is AI over here, which is looks like the sim dupes. And you don't see that much, right? You look through here, and even if you rate them all the way by the top, very, very few rate to be duped here. So you don't have to really worry too much about that. But I do like to double check just to make sure that I'm not getting myself into this idea of playing like 10 duped lineups or lineups that are duped 10 times over, especially when there's such a small field. Okay, that's pretty much all I have. I hope you guys have a good Saturday, good weekend, and we'll be around Sunday to do the football. Hopefully build up a little bit of a cushion by winning something in the LEC. That's it. Feel free to go to TrueDFS. We have a lot of good packages up there if you want to pay for more premium content, and that'll do it.